So this is a nugget for the KP's community content. Alright, so I want to talk about the way you set goals, the type of goals that you need to be setting, right? Normally when we talk about setting goals, it's always based on the destination. Like we're setting the goal to let us know the destination that we're going towards, where we're aiming, point B, right? But what I want to submit for your thought is the notion or the concept of, even if there's a destination that I'm trying to get to, that I'm aiming to get to, even if there's the destination I'm trying to get to, that there's a process of steps that have to be followed in order for me to achieve this thing. Whereby, if I do X, Y, and Z, I will accomplish A, B, C, right? So, with that being said, I lend you for consideration the thought that would it be beneficial if, instead of our goal being to accomplish a particular thing or reach a particular destination, to set a goal to do the things that it takes to get to that destination, right? So, to give an example, podcasting, right? Or podcasting. I'm podcasting for a purpose, right? The goal isn't to be a podcast star. The goal is to become more visible, right? And to share a particular message that pricks people, to provoke a feeling, and to have a body of work that's present that people can go back to and say, hey, this guy's been working. Also, it's to allow with that visibility part, right? The goal is to generate revenue from speaking. Everything else is just icing on the cake. So with the goal being to generate revenue from speaking engagements, my voice has to be out there. So one of the purposes of the podcast is to accomplish those things, right? So again, the original goal was to, we're gonna make X amount of dollars on speaking engagement per month. What are the components for us to get there? One of the components that we identified would be a consistent podcast coming out, right? So rather than the goal just sticking at, hey, I'm setting a goal to make X amount of dollars per month from speaking engagement, my first goal, and I want you to set lofty goals, and this will be another conversation, but then dial it back to realistic incremental goals, and we're dialing it back even more. So the first goal I'm doing with starting speaking engagements is generating $5,000 to $10,000 per month. What it really is, though, is $5,000 to $10,000 per speaking engagement, because I don't want to speak 10 times and make $500 a week. I want to speak once a month, and each engagement pays me $5,000 to $10,000. This is the goal for while I'm still working. Like, I want to have a full-time job and go out of town for speaking engagements once a month and make $5,000 to $10,000. That's it. How do I get there? To get there, one of the vehicles is to allow my voice to be more visible. We're utilizing the podcast to do that. Now, to take it one step further, we're not just gonna simply say, hey, we're not gonna simply say, hey, let's just do the podcast. Okay, consistency. The podcast has to come out consistent to allow it to saturate, to settle, to get out there, and to accumulate the views and stuff like that. We're starting this thing off from scratch. All of these things have to take place, right? So, not just with consistency, but we want to put a number, a tangible goal with that consistency. So right now, the goal is to produce 100 podcasts. 100. Most seasons are short. No, I want to do, my first season is going to have 100 podcasts. 100 episodes in this season, and one is going to come out each and every week. I'm not going to be super tracking this, that, and the third. No, we're going to sit down, we're going to record the podcast, and we're going to publish it. It really only takes total 45 minutes. Now that I kind of understand and this is just posting to Spotify. Now that I have a little, after doing one, have a understanding of somewhat of the process, sit down, record, hit share, put a title with it, type a little, this is what happened, go from there. That's it. 45 minutes at the most. And doing it, I remember the first one we recorded, I used the laptop, just set it up, just recorded with the laptop. And then the next one, I had my phone recording as well. So I had the laptop recording I had the podcast audio recording on the phone, but I had my laptop running with the video. Nothing special, just like that, so I can have both qualities. Didn't download a special application, didn't pay a dime, none of that stuff. Just use what I got, because right now the goal is just to start. This is my beginning goal, to produce 100 consistent podcasts. That's the goal, right? So I just explained my process to you all. So what I want you to do, right? I want you to look at your lofty goal, and I want you to start dialing it back into bite-sized pieces. What I mean by that is, if this keep it lofty, dream big, because $5,000 to $10,000 of speaking engagement, that's everyone don't just pay someone $5,000 to $10,000, right? But we gonna get there. That's my lofty goal, and really my goal is much greater than that, because I know there's people out here getting paid $100,000 for a speaking engagement. I know there's people out here that people are paying I want a corporation to pay me $5,000 to $10,000 to talk to however many people they need me to talk to. But knowing that there's people out here that individuals will pay $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. One individual will pay that much just to have access to hear this individual person talking about X, Y, and Z. So, yeah, that's the thing. So what I want you to do, I know there's more, but my bite-sized lofty goal is the $5,000 to $10,000 a month per speaking engagement. And if I'm being realistic, right? Once I attain that, I get to that place, you really think I'm just gonna do one? Oh shit, $5,000 to $10,000. I'm literally saying, hey, I want to make $60,000 to $100,000 on the side from just speaking 12 times a year. And then what happens if it's the demand is there, so let's double that and do 2 engagements a month. The demand is there. Oh, we can go on a tour on a weekly circuit. We can knock I know what's capable, but to give myself something direct to focus on, a specific goal that we're aiming for is the 1 engagement per month, making $5,000 to $10,000 per engagement, because that's while I'm still working at TD Bank, while I'm still working in my current full-time job, right? So that's it. So what I need you to do, and we're talking about breaking the bite-sized pieces, what's the goal? What are the components of reaching that goal? Or what is one vehicle? Because notice I've only said the podcast, one of the vehicles, because there's other vehicles that's going to play into that's not a major focus. There's other things I'm going to do. There's other things that have to come with it, but this major one, first one, is the 100 podcasts. Breaking it down, getting the exposure. So what I want you to do, I don't need you to put a plan together for every vehicle that you're gonna need, but what's one vehicle? What's one vehicle, and what's one goal that you can set for that one vehicle? One input, I call them input-based goals. What is one vehicle that you can start developing input-based goals for? Because the logic is, what I put in is what I get out. The output is determined by the input in the system. Right? So if I'm controlling the input, the system's already there. My control is the input, because if I input this effort, this work into this system that's already established, this principle, to this system that's already established, the output is already pre-established what's going to come out. So therefore, I don't have to focus on the output. I just need to focus on my input and what it is I'm putting into this thing. All right, so set your goals, set your input-based goals, all right? Input-based goals. Start setting your input-based goals on the things that you're going for. All right, this is the KP's community content. There you go.